Hello and welcome once again to one of our landlord updates. I am Matt Dilks and from Christopher Shaw Residential, and I'm joined again by James Tiller, my fellow director. Good morning, James.
Morning.
As you may know, a core part of our business is the management of properties and tenancies. Many of those properties may be in blocks of flats, and in turn, those blocks are looked after by an external block manager. In these unusual times caused by the coronavirus pandemic, we thought we would catch up with Joe Mellery-Pratt from Rebbeck Brothers to find out about how they've been coping with the unique challenges, their side of the industry. Welcome, Joe. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you, Matt.
You're very welcome.
It's good to be on here. We like what you're doing, and we're very grateful for you for reaching out. So thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us. It's awesome to reach out to people. We were saying this morning, you know, maybe people that we don't often get a chance to just have a chat and a kind of a hangout with. Often it is work related, and you know, although this is work related, it's great to put faces to names,
Yes,
which is good. And I'm
absolutely.
sure Rebbeck Brothers are not a small company. You know, they shouldn't require a lot of introduction, but if you could just tell us a bit about yourself, what you do, and what your company does in the terms of block management.
Great. Well, my name's Joe Mellery-Pratt, as I've been introduced. I am a director at Rebbeck Brothers, director/team leader. So Rebbeck Brothers are a firm of property managers in Bournemouth. We are chartered surveyors also, which is a great thing to have to our name. My job is ultimately to lead the team and provide that first-hand support and also structure their training and career progression. By doing that, as with most businesses, we set KPIs and goals. One of my other jobs is for new business instructions. So I'm in charge of bringing on new business, new blocks, and things like that. And you know, there's a lot of stuff. It's quite a broad role. Whereas I'll be doing other things from staff meetings, things like that, weekly staff meetings, to social media, and then working with the team to looking at new ideas to improve and work to best practice. So it's it's a great role. I started my time at Rebbeck Brothers about 8 years ago now. I started as a property manager, started quite low, and worked for Matthew Strong and Tina Stewart when she was at Rebbeck Brothers. She's now living in sunny France, down in the wine valleys down there. So she's retired.
You've made it.
And I had some great training from them, and then decided I needed to spread my wings a bit. So I went off to another company, a nationwide company, Town and City, and had a very good time there. The intention was to always come back eventually to Rebbeck Brothers. It happened a bit sooner than I'd like. I left Town and City having learned a great deal and have huge respect for them. They were a very good firm. And I've still got the bottle of champagne, which I haven't opened when I left. So I've got to
Nice.
work out a date or an event to drink that. So yeah, a great team there, and I'm back at Rebbeck Brothers. So
Fantastic.
Ultimately, you know, it's a family business for me. My granddad Horace bought into the business or bought part of the business after the war. He was in the RAF working as a surveyor, and he came back and bought Rebbeck Brothers, and then my father and my uncle took it over as a brothers partnership, Rebbeck Brothers, and here I am as the director now, looking forward to the future.
Nice. So very much a family business.
Yeah, very much a family business.
Nice heritage.
Personally, you know, Mellery-Pratt, the name is known locally for sailing as well. We do a lot of sailing from Parkstone Yacht Club.
Yeah.
We have an one design boat, which my granddad bought as well. So we're doing everything my granddad. It's been in the family for a long time. We had its 90th birthday last year, so it's a boat, which I think we call a piece of antique furniture that we bash around all summer and then restore every winter. We're slightly going to miss that at this time because obviously we're not sailing. But one thing that the club have set up is virtual sailing. So we're all doing a bit of virtual sailing on the Friday evenings and things like that with the team. So that's really good.
Nice.
And just generally around the area, live in Lilliput, and we've got Parkston Golf Course down the road, which says fantastic what they've done to open the golf course to walkers and dog walkers. So I think, you know, part of this whole thing that's going on, we've seen a great deal of things like that happening with the community. So it's really good of them to do something like that, and we're seeing that across the board. So yeah.
That's really, really good. I mean, yeah, we're definitely seeing creative ways to keep people, you know, networking and you know, seeing family and friends in ways that they would never have done before. Suddenly, a lot of my family who are not very good with technology suddenly are amazing with it, you know, within a week. So that is amazing. So that really brings us into our next question. I mean, everyone will probably guess from looking at our videos and from yours, we're all working from home. You know, you're in your bedroom, James is in a bedroom, I'm in a dining room. It's obviously very unusual. So, you know, how have you found the COVID-19 lockdown, in particular working in block management?
Well, I'll be completely honest. It was challenging. It has been challenging with the speed of the change, the speed of this pandemic, and sort of taken us all a bit by surprise.
Yeah.
Having to change and suddenly overnight rethink the way we work in such a short space of time. Luckily, we, you know, Rebbeck Brothers, although we're fairly substantial, we're still quite a small business. So it's easy for us, and it's been slightly easier for us to turn on a sixpence and make those changes quickly to ensure that our, you know, ultimately our clients and the people we're working for and working with are getting a good service. So yeah, it's.
Yeah. So what would you say that the main changes have been that you've had to adapt to?
The big change is the home working. So,
yeah,
you know, straight to home working, everybody. We have toyed with the idea over the past. So block management companies do things very differently across the spectrum. So some are all home workers, some are in an office, and ultimately we all have the same job and same role, and we do the same things, but it's just how we do things. So we've toyed with the ideas in the past, and yeah, we've made the changes, and we're now working from home. It's been quite good. We've been having coffee mornings with the staff. There's 2 rules with the coffee mornings: not to talk about work and not to talk about COVID. So we can all get a coffee in front of us and really just have a general chat like we are in the office, because I think a lot of staff miss that interaction on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's one of the big things is it's just the social side as much as anything else.
Yeah. And, you know, Rebbeck Brothers have been going since 1845. So this year's our 175th anniversary.
Wow.
So
that champagne's going to be used then, I think.
Yeah, it's quite a yeah. It's the longest, oldest property firm in Bournemouth, and you know, the office has fallen silent for the first time in nearly 75 years. So whereas Monday to Friday, the offices are always busy, suddenly, like that, dead, very silent. So it's affecting everybody, but it has affected us just the same as most people, I guess.
And how about the sort of day-to-day management duties for you? How's that changed?
Day-to-day management, well, I think what we did around 15 months ago was bring in a computer cloud-based property management and accounting software called Cube. And we were toying with the idea. We were with a slightly archaic, we struggled with a slightly archaic system, which did the job perfectly and was brilliant for what we wanted. But I think we needed to look at the future, and part of that was to look at a new computer software. So we would have struggled a lot more if we did not take that decision to modernize when we did. We also have a brilliant 3CX phone system, which people can call the office now, or your direct dial, and go straight through to the property manager's mobile. And yeah, that's really good. And we can conference between departments within the firm, which is really helpful when answers are needed sort of there and then. Also, ARMA, our regulators, because we are a regulated firm, which is something we push because we feel it's fantastic. They've been extremely helpful during this time, you would have thought regulators or these professional bodies may go a bit quieter during hard times, but they've done completely the opposite, having weekly Zoom meetings with the CEO, Nigel Glenn, where the questions are fired at him, and they've been fantastic with over 200 property managers involved, getting sensible and answers there and there. So that's been really good. And we've also seen that there's a lot of opportunities at this time as well. We all know there's those urgent, important, and then the non-urgent, non-important jobs, which do get pushed by the wayside a bit, especially in the property management game, where we are sort of dealing with clients every day and coming into new things. And so things like finalizing our new website, that's really pushing ahead. We've been calling our clients a lot because we think it's been great to pick up the phone and rather than just stay on the emails. We also do this to collect email addresses and phone numbers to keep our system up to date, and also make them aware of our direct dial numbers, etc. So yeah.
I mean, it's interesting what you said about Armour. Our industry body's been very similar in that it's given us loads of information, and I think that's been the key thing for a lot of us at this time, is just understanding that all the changes that are happening and picking it up, and the guidance that we get from those people are invaluable. But just sort of on sort of the day-to-day working, how have you found working with trades as well? Because I'm sure that you've had emergencies and things like that you've had to deal with since being locked down. How have your trades people been with that?
They've been really good actually during this time. I know a lot of them are struggling. A lot of contractors advise they'll now only be undertaking essential work, which is fair, because we've got to think about the safety aspects of our leaseholders, the residents in block, and perhaps the more minor little decorating job in the hallway isn't so important at this time and can be held off. We're far more conscious of making sure that the residents are not put at risk and when we're providing instructions, but working with our cleaners, anything from our cleaners or our gardeners, cleaning at this time is important as part of hygiene management. Our cleaners are paying extra attention to door handles, intercom, lift buttons, with antibacterial spray, making sure that's being attended to is quite important at this time. The government advice has been changing rapidly, so it's difficult to make sure we're doing the right thing at the right time. But we have been keeping up to date with it and working very closely with our contractors, which have helped. Another big thing is we've always prided ourselves on paying contractors every 2 weeks on a payment run. Payments are speedy payments are so important to our contractors at this time. So it's great that we can keep that up, and our accounting department is working at full speed at this time. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah. And what about major works that you might have had planned or that were ongoing when all this broke out? How have you coped with those?
Yes, well, it all depends on what sort of job is being carried out. I'm sure you appreciate, we manage a huge range of properties, ranging from a block of 3 flats to a block of 103. All sorts of different jobs that need doing: tarmac, roof work, structural work, that sort of thing. So it all depends on the job, but most ones in the major works in the pipeline have been postponed, quite rightly so. And I think the main reason for that is the contractors not being able to get to them and get the materials and carry them out. So it's quite easy to understand why they've been postponed. Some of the roofing projects that were halfway through and needed, it's quite important that they were finished. They've been doing as best as they can, our roofers, so they've been fantastic. So also things like fire safety. I don't think that takes a back seat for anyone, especially at this time. So the fire department are more concerned than ever with people having barbecues on their balconies and things.
Yeah.
So the fire risk assessors we've been working with have been great, keeping us up to date and making sure we're okay there.
And has there been any legislative changes as well? That were due to come in that have been postponed because of this. I mean, we've had things like gas safety and stuff that have to still continue as normal, like you say, normal safety stuff has to still continue. But there's a big bit of legislation concerning electrical safety certificates in residential properties that's due in on the 1st of July, and we still have to comply with that. So has there been anything like that that's been affecting your side of the industry?
Yes, well, there's a few things that are going on with government, and no doubt, they have taken time to get to where they are now, and that will be put to the back burner. So yeah, there's a few things going on which will be delayed. We sort of feel the industry as a whole, it is going down the route of being regulated by the government. Because property management at the moment is an unregulated industry. I think similar to Wales, we will get there, and is what the government are pushing for. That will inevitably be delayed. So, but we're still waiting for updates on that. So that's a bigger issue in itself. But yeah.
Brilliant. This is where our governing bodies will be constantly updating us on those, and it's not a question of if, it's going to be when, even if there is a delay. So for a lot of people, if they're able to still bring their properties up to a level of compliance, it's got to be done at some point, as long as it can be done safely. Just because the legislation may be nudged back doesn't mean that the works can't be done. So at least you're future-proofing your own property, or in your case, blocks. So just leading on to probably last question then, very simple one, hopefully. We know what ours have been, but what would you say overall has been your biggest challenge as a company?
So I suppose that the biggest challenge at the moment is sort of predicting what's ahead, because a week or two ago, few people were talking about, are we going to go full lockdown? Or are the restrictions going to ease? So it's sort of understanding where we're going to go and making changes to our business to make sure we're in the right gear, ready for it, I suppose.
Well, I'm guessing in a lot of ways, our industry insiders are saying that estate agents and letting agents may be one of the earlier businesses to go back. And in a lot of ways, although we deal with different things, in a sense, we are the same type of business. We're office-based. And as long as it is safe to do so, effectively you can have a very protected environment in your offices where you're not going to be exposed to the public. So we may find ourselves back maybe a bit sooner than more retail-based companies, for example. Yeah.
So getting ready for that, if and when that comes along, and it's always another thing I'll mention is our industry has changed over the last 10 years quite considerably. It may surprise you to learn that our team handled is about 248,000 emails last year in 2019. As a comparison, there were just 6,000 in 2011. So the way that the industry, I'm sure you're finding it as well, it demonstrates the rapidly changing nature of the business and the way the industry is going. But I will say we're a 175-year-old business. We continue to adapt and meet demands and greater expectations. So ultimately, we want to be best practice and work and provide a good service to our clients.
That's fantastic. I mean, from what you spoke about off camera, on camera, there's definitely a vibe of that family business, a lot of pride in there, and I think with that comes that little bit of extra something which maybe lacks in bigger firms, which customers, I think, ultimately they respond well to. I mean, I know that we have a few blocks within our portfolio that self-manage,
Yeah.
you know, because maybe there's only 4 in the block, you know, and they feel that they can deal with it. But, you know, if times have changed, or, you know, they're feeling like they need a bit of advice, or they need to reach out to someone, or put someone in place for their block, you know, I'm sure you guys would be happy to have a conversation or to give some advice, even if it's just advice in the first instance.
Absolutely, absolutely. And any you know, directors or companies looking after their own block, they're more than happy to give me a call. Go on our website, find my number. You know, ultimately that we're there for our clients, but I'm more than happy to speak to anyone about property management. We consider ourselves, you know, leaders in the industry, one of the better property managers in the field. So it's very important that we make sure our services are there for everyone. So yeah, more than happy with that.
Amazing, brilliant. Well, what we'll do, Joe, below the video, wherever this goes out, we'll obviously link to yourself and add an email and a telephone number. So if we add to your emails, I apologise.
No problem.
But you've laid yourself out there now, so you know that's on you. But thank you again for joining us from your bedroom. And I know you've got 2 children the same age as me who are waiting to get to school. So we'll put our second hats on and start class in a minute. And I wish you, you know, obviously every bit of happiness and success from home. And we'll no doubt catch up when we're back to normal normal working practices, and hopefully, you know, continue our relationship going as well.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Matt, and thank you very much, James. Appreciate you guys reaching out, and pleasure to talk to you guys today.
Thanks a lot, Joe.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye.